Hi, Luke. Welcome to the Glitch in the Matrix podcast. I'm your host, Amitesh, and he's my co-host, Vedant. And in this podcast, we talk about AI, we debunk truths about technology, we talk about current artificial intelligence trends, business trends, and we also try to touch upon venture capital and startup funds. So today I have Luke Geel with me. He's an AI and ML engineer. He works for United States Air Force, and he has his degree. And we will love to hear from Luke himself.
Sure. Hi, guys. Thank you very much for having me. I got my undergrad from UMass Amherst. I got two degrees, one in math, one in economics. From a math degree, my concentration was statistics and data science. And through data science, that's where I kind of found out about, machine learning and then AI, and then kind of pivoted from initially I was thinking maybe quantitative finance, but after taking some machine learning courses, I thought this is super cool. I think this is what I'd want to do. So I got some internships while I was in school, and then my first job out of school I'm currently here is I'm a civilian in the Air Force. I do data science work. That's been going great. And then on the side as well, I'm a part-time software engineer for a small startup company called Genesis AI. I kind of do a little bit of everything in terms of software engineering, so a little bit of front end and back end, you know, a little bit of AI as well. Yeah, I guess that's a pretty brief, overview about my background.
Awesome. Awesome. That's really good. You got some bunch of experience in your arsenal and you are working in software. You're also working in data at United States Air Force as a civilian. That is amazing. So can you tell what is a specific thing, event or something that sparked your interest in AI field? And how did you came to data science and AI world and started working on that?
Sure. So the data science interest that came through my math degree when I started taking data science and machine learning courses. And then I guess the machine learning courses were really what kind of inspired me to look more into AI. That's what kind of ignited the fire within me, I guess, all about, artificial intelligence, the different use cases, how it can be advanced, that type of stuff. And then I mean I'm just generally very interested in the different companies that are doing work in artificial intelligence, keeping up with the latest trends, reading different articles, trying to attend AI events, in-person events in Boston. You can meet a lot of really cool people and have some really amazing conversations.
So, what are the sources that you use to keep like yourself updated in the trends? Because it's a fast-moving industry. We see Nvidia is breaking through in a lot of hardware technology, and then there are software big fours which are again competing with each other. So it's a fast-moving environment. So how do you keep yourself up to date with the trends?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best way to consistently keep up to date would be either some type of podcasts or newsletters where they send them out daily. One of my favorite podcasts is called oh shoot, I forget what it's called. It's something, the AI breakdown. That's what it is. It's a 15, 20-minute episode every single day where
Mhm.
the structure is the first 10 minutes will be everything AI in the news of that day. And then the next 10 minutes will be the main story. Hosted by someone named Nathaniel Whitmore, something like that. I think that's really fantastic because I mean, you have a new episode every single day, and there's no better way to stay up to date than that. Besides that, there are a couple of weekly podcasts. I know one is called The AI Show by Paul Rotzer and someone else. That's a weekly episode. It's about an hour long. It's pretty much the same idea where they go over, what happened in the week relating to AI. And then if you're really trying to broaden your horizons, I think there are a lot of fantastic books regarding the field of AI. I know Ethan Mollick just put out a book called Co-Intelligence that I read. That one was really fantastic. It's all about, AI and humans, how they're going to kind of, coexist in the future. And then Mustafa Suleyman, who is the founder of Google DeepMind, he just wrote a book as well called The Coming Wave. Finish that up as well. Those are some really excellent books. So I'd say, podcasts, books, any type of newsletters, you know, consistency is key, really, I guess. Making sure that you're always kind of, I mean, not, 24/7 trying to stay up to date, but, a couple times a week at least, I'd say is more than enough to get a good idea of, where everything is at.
Wow, that's very diverse spectrum of sources where you collect your information from. There is the tool called Futurepedia. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. You know, the Futurepedia. There is this guy on YouTube. So the website has the collection of all the AI tools across different sort of models, from text to image, image to image, and etc. And that guy keeps updating all sorts of AI tools every single day, and he makes YouTube videos around that. So that's also a good source that I follow.
Luke, I was hoping maybe we could dive a little bit deeper into the company that you work for currently, which is Genesis AI, and how you're using OpenAI APIs and Python automation, which is mentioned in your LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
I was hoping you would talk about that.
Yeah, sure thing. So Genesis AI is an AI API marketplace where any type of developers or coders or people like us, if we come up with some sort of program or AI program or function or whatnot, we can turn that into an API and host it on their marketplace so that any other person or company who is interested in using it, they can just pay the developer to use it, and then Genesis will take a marketplace fee. That's what they were focused on initially. They still have that marketplace, but right now their efforts are kind of focusing on one specific tool, which is all about email campaigns, sending out massive amounts of emails for companies, for their marketing and whatnot. He was doing some market research, and I guess the problem is a lot of current competitors who allow sending of emails, either those emails get to spam or they're restricted in how many you can send out. So he's developing a platform to allow people to send out essentially a million emails a month or something like that. And my focus is implementing AI in the whole infrastructure. So, for example, I'm currently working on one tool, which is essentially an AI email reply agent, which will live in your inbox. And then when an email comes in, you'll have given it certain information about, let's say, your company, and then it'll determine when an email comes in your inbox, it'll determine, do I have enough information to respond to this email or not? If it doesn't have enough information to respond, then it'll alert the user or something like that. But if it does have enough information, then it'll draft up an email, and then you can either have it automatically send out that email or save it in your draft folder. That way you can just open up the draft folder and read the email and then make any revisions you want rather than just having to type it from scratch. So the whole AI aspect of that, it's just a ChatGPT OpenAI API key or call. So it's not we're developing our own models or anything, but I think it's helpful, and I think it's really cool the different work that you can do, just using the OpenAI API key.
Yeah, it's more like you're fine-tuning your models for sending out the bulk emails, something like that, if that makes.
Something that I don't think we're doing a whole lot of fine tuning. I guess the two main steps would be, number one is give the tool the information regarding your company. So for instance, his target customers at the moment are startup companies who are looking to raise money. So if you're a startup company looking to raise money, you'll probably be sending out tons of emails to venture capitalists and angel investors, that type of stuff, trying to convince them to raise money. So let's say you work with this tool, you'll give that AI agent information such as, this is our company, this is what we do, this is how much money we've raised so far, this is who is working on the project, this is our board, all of that type of stuff. And then let's say you send out an email to a venture capitalist, something like, hi venture capitalist, please, invest in our company, here's why you should invest, blah blah blah. And then if an email comes in, let's say the email says something, hey, this is the venture capitalist, we'd love to invest in your company, we just have we just have one question, which is, who was on your board of directors? The AI has that information, so they can just write a reply. Whereas if the email from the venture capitalist was something like, we'd love to invest in your company, could we schedule a 30-minute meeting? The AI isn't going to be able to do that, at least yet. So then it'll just alert the user and say, hey, you have to reply to this email yourself, I don't have enough information. So I guess it's more prompt engineering than fine tuning per se. But I'm sure we could use fine tuning. I don't think it's 100% necessary.
We are also trying to develop a product in metaphysical. So, Glitch in the Matrix is obviously a podcast brand which is owned by a company called Metaphysical Innovations. In that company, we are trying to develop not exactly that, but a similar sort of product. And we have kind of released our first version of browser extension. And actually, that is how I reached out to you, right? So, so I have a list of potential podcast guests, right? I just go to their LinkedIn profile, and I don't have to read the whole thing, what all I have done. It's a lot of information and their work experience, their publications, and a lot of things over there. So what that extension does is it just takes information on the go from the profile page, and it drafts a message, and we have sort of implemented a vector database at the back of it, so to cut our costs so that we are not paying for a lot of tokens for the person who is having a lot of information on their public page. So that actually creates a message. You can edit it there and then you can send it out. And after that, you have to talk to the person, right? So the first message is the icebreaker sort of a thing, right? We wanted that to automate. So I guess LLM technology is making a lot of these things possible, and that's really interesting. By the way, on the similar note, I would want to, pivot towards one conversation of Sam Altman. Um, there were two conversations, there were two podcasts. In one podcast, the CEO of Google, Sundar, he was talking about how rapper startups which are sitting on top of ChatGPT or any other large language model, how are those models gonna get wiped out from the ecosystem from the next iteration of updation of the large language model? So how do you feel about that? What are your opinions on that?
I guess if you're trying to become a wrapper company, you will have to be able to prove that you're more than just an API call. I guess you'll have to put in some other work across, a wide variety of different things, like, developing a nice front end. I mean, you'll have to do, marketing, customer outreach, customer, detective work to figure out what they actually want. I've definitely talked with a few companies who, I mean, you could label them as GPT wrapper companies, sure, but they do provide a service where what they do, does save people a lot of time. So if you are looking to start a company, which is essentially, a GPT wrapper company, I wouldn't feel too discouraged unless, your whole company is really just calling an API and then returning whatever information.
Mhm.
If you have to put in, I guess what we're trying to say is you have to put in, other work besides just calling the API to make sure your company can prove itself that it is an actual company. But
Mhm.
I wouldn't feel too discouraged. Yeah, I guess I
Yeah,
definitely.
I understand your POV. You are basically saying it's the startup should have some different functionality, just not, utilizing an API at the back end. That completely makes sense. Sundar actually gave the same answer. It's dependent upon the use case.
Maybe we could talk about work that you did at OPI Aid, right? And how you impacted and improved predictions related to addictions.
Yeah, so OPA, they do data science work around um, drug addictions and recoveries, trying to, help people with the drug addictions, fight against withdrawals and all that sort of stuff. And they implement and use wearables, which is, any kind of technology that you wear. So if it's some smartwatch or something like that, they'll track metrics such as heart rate, oxygen levels to be able to figure out if someone is going through a withdrawal or an overdose or something like that. My specific work, it was kind of as a volunteer data scientist here at Opiate. I was specifically looking at certain prediction models and trying to figure out if there was any synthetic. I'm trying to remember the exact words. Essentially, I was looking for bad data that was leading the models to become less accurate. So I was just doing
Like
some
outliers are you talking about?
Yes, outliers, just certain issues with the data.
Mhm.
If it wasn't just, clean, if there were certain gaps. Um, I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
exactly what it was called, but I can't remember exactly too much. But I guess overall, my work was trying to improve the accuracy of the models, which would then lead to, higher quality products and wearable technologies, which would lead to, a reduction in withdrawals or overdoses and stuff like that.
Okay. So on the similar note, so you talked about you were working there as like volunteer data scientist. So can you tell about what sort of data was that? What were the features of the data? What sort of information are we getting from the client or I don't know, party A?
Sure. So they would work with recovery treatments. The data was pretty much all healthcare data, certain healthcare metrics, heart rate, beats per minute, heart rate variability, any type of oxygen intake or body temperature and things like that.
Mhm.
And then you would track someone over, let's say, a week or 2 weeks or maybe even a month. And then you would know certain times when maybe they took a specific medication, and then you can kind of see what effect that had on the person, and then as well as if the person was going through some sort of drug recovery, they might experience some certain periods of time where they would experience either severe withdrawal symptoms, things like that. So we would track it, be able
Oh,
to use that data for then, prediction models and things like that.
That's yeah, amazing. So your data is mostly around the numerical data, heart rate and body weight, height and gender of the person, and what effects it's really had after the sort of medication. And so it again it involves a lot of numeric data, so you just can't automate it using LLMs. But do you think do you what do you think over next decade, how will this technology be shaping? Because I don't think real engineers will be required to, monitor over that, or because a lot of these things will be getting automated, though large language models are not good at numbers right now. But my personal belief is it will get better in the next 4 to 5 years. Yeah. So what do you think? Will there be any requirement of a human being 5 years down the line, or we will be at a point in the future that we are automating? Saw the video. There was a YouTube video. I don't remember the person on top of my head, but he actually spent a week with that and he created 16, 17 minutes long video telling what Devin was actually doing. So did you watch that video by any chance?
I don't know if it's the same video you're referring to, but I did see some video where someone was criticizing Devin. Essentially, from what I understand, I think the biggest thing was Devin was significantly slower than a human for the task that they had given Devin. It took him, I think it was 4 or 5 hours, but the human was able to do it in 30 minutes or 45 minutes.
Mhm.
And another one of the issues was Devin was he would figure out bugs in the code, but the bugs he was solving were actually bugs that he had kind of came up with on his own, or when he was fixing code, the code he used to fix it with had a bug, and that's the bug he was solving. It wasn't initially in the code. um
Mhm.
so I mean, yeah, like I said before, Devin isn't anything to brag about yet, but I still think it's important to see, this is
The progress, yeah,
first
the
step.
progress that you're making. I think GitHub Copilot is being trained on GPT. I won't say it's trained on, it runs on GPT 3.5 Turbo, and it does the job pretty good. All the people in the industry they say that they can't code without GitHub Copilot. And so I think technologies, agents, and technologies like Devin itself, and then these GitHub Copilots, and then coding engines. I guess a collection of this and a terminal and a browser and a lot of these things, if poured into a bowl and mixed properly, what you will get is a software engineer out of that. So
I definitely agree. I mean, we definitely still have some ways to go, but in the future, I definitely see, an AI software engineer.
I see back there on your whiteboard you have written something about AGI. Do you want to talk about AGI? Is the software engineer you're talking about, is that AGI, or what's AGI according to you?
No, I think so. AGI would be kind of a more wide variety of tasks. It might involve, or I think it does involve software engineering, but then it would also involve, just a much wider, broader range of tasks. So pattern recognition, spatial awareness, basic reasoning, abstraction, math, science, everything like that. I guess so. Artificial, or AGI is artificial general intelligence. General referring to it's intelligent at a it's generally intelligent at all tasks, whereas humans, no human is really generally intelligent. No one human is smart about everything. If I was some biologist, I'd be really good at biology, but I might not be great at history. Same thing if I was a historian, I probably wouldn't be really good at biology. But if an artificial intelligence system could be considered AGI, they would have to be decently good at biology, decently good at history, pretty much all tasks that humans can do.
Yeah. So you are telling
Um,
AGI will have multimodal capabilities and it won't be just restricted to one type of work that it does? And
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
yeah.
I'd say multimodality, yes. And then yeah, no restrictions on the work it can do.
Mhm.
as a data scientist today, as a machine learning expert, what sort of tech stack do you need to get started? And do you keep building this tech stack slowly as new things, new frameworks, new libraries pop out? And what is enough to just get started, right? So
Sure.
obviously, right, some skills for front end and back end development is needed, but to build projects, what do you think is necessary?
I'd say if you can just do one coding language, I'd say Python is probably the best for data science. You don't need to know, Python and data and, C. I think if you even just one language is probably more than enough, at least to get started. I'd recommend Python just because it's the easiest. It has the most Libraries is probably the most easiest to use. And then a good understanding of machine learning techniques and data science techniques, how they work, when to implement which one. So modeling, prediction, generative AI, that type of stuff. And then just overall coding skills. So yeah, front end, I guess, yeah, back end, probably sure. Let me try and think. If you're trying to build some interactive project, then yeah, you'll need some front end and back end skills. Probably some type of database language. So SQL is a pretty common one. R is really good for statistical analysis and visualizations. Although I think Python can probably do most of that stuff already. I think so if you are starting out in your career and you're trying to get a job, then it is pretty important to know a variety of different programming languages and libraries and frameworks. But if you were, let's say, interested in working on a side project just for yourself, then you can get away with far less skills. You can have a much smaller tech stack. Yeah, I mean, if just with Python, you can really do quite a bit. And if you're utilizing ChatGPT and other AI tools, then it really offers you the ability to do far more than you could without it, right? So for example, I use JavaScript for my software engineering role, but I really don't know JavaScript that well. Whenever I need to know it, I just ask ChatGPT and it'll write it for me. Anybody can do that. I think ChatGPT gives anybody the skills as an entry-level software engineer might have.
Yeah, no, so I have the follow-up question that he was talking about data. So, I mean, yes, Python and a lot of things, yes, but initial stages of data analysis is usually done by ChatGPT, right? So, what do you think entry-level software engineers they got the chance? Because I'm looking for full-time jobs myself, and the time is tough because most of the work that it, which is most of the work that data analysts in the initial stages of their career do, ChatGPT kind of automated that. If you can make meaning what it's saying and you can ask cross questions and talk to your data a little bit, you will get pretty good visualizations and representations and things. What do you think?
I definitely don't think that I don't think at the moment I don't think LLMs will replace software engineers anytime soon. So I mean, there's definitely still a great chance that you'll find a full-time software engineer role, and then a lot of the work a software engineer does, I mean, yes, it can be automated or at least supplemented by AI, but the interacting with people, I mean, AI can't do that yet. I think, being a people person and having those types of, soft skills will go a long way. I think, I think I don't agree. I don't agree with people who say, the AI job market is really tough right now. I think there are a ton of jobs and job opportunities. When I go to in-person AI events, I always hear of people saying, oh, I just started a company, we're hiring, or I know this company is hiring, that type of stuff. I think people just aren't looking in the right spots. So I definitely would keep your head up high about trying to find a role.
Yeah, that's definitely a good answer. That makes complete sense. Um, By the way, I just have a couple of rapid fire questions for you, with which we will end our proper session episode with that. But before that, I have one question. What would you say to a 16 or 17-year-old who is a student and they don't have any engineering background? They are still deciding what they want to pursue, but they are really excited about talks over AI and they're looking at it, they're playing with Chat GPT and things, and they really want to work on it, and but they don't have no clue where to start. And tag question, should they target for AI engineer or should they target for ML engineer? And what's the difference, or are they the same thing?
I'd say so if you're an AI engineer, you'll probably be working with machine learning as well, but you'll also probably be doing things, building, chatbots that are integrated with generative AI, whereas a machine learning engineer will be specifically focused on machine learning. Um, so I'd say probably target AI engineer unless, you're all about machine learning and you're fine just, focusing on machine learning. Otherwise, an AI engineer will essentially be a machine learning engineer plus, the other concepts of AI, so generative AI, computer vision, that type of stuff. where you want to get going and how to begin, I'd say keep playing with ChatGPT, keep going to those AI talks, keep watching AI videos to stay up to date. That's going to really help. Practicing coding skills, that's going to be something important as well. If you have an idea for a project, I'd say, go for it, build it out, see if people in the real world are interested in using it. And even if they're not, at least you get something, at least you get experience, at least you get to add something to your resume. Um, I'm trying to think of any other advice. When I was at UMass, I started the UMass Data Science Club. I had a really fun time doing that. It really opened up a lot of doors for me. I'd say probably about 50% of the interviews I had after running the club probably came directly through my role as president for the club. So I'd say either, joining as many AI clubs as you can. And if there's no AI club around, you start your own. That'll be fantastic for, getting your name out there, personal branding. Yeah, I'd say just keep doing, and really anything about AI.
That's a detailed answer. I hope that helps our audience, the younger people who want to get into the field. And moving towards the rapid fire question, I have a couple of questions. And so let's start with this one. What's the coolest tech gadget you have ever owned?
Coolest gadget I've ever owned. Damn, I don't know. I don't own many cool gadgets. I'm trying to think. I mean, I have an Aura ring, but that's not really that cool. I mean, that's just more for sleep, tracking your sleep and stuff. Hmm. Coolest gadget I own. Okay, I don't own it yet, but I am hoping to get one of those Meta glasses or goggles because
Quest, Meta Quest.
yeah, yes, exactly, the Quest. I'm hoping to use that for work. At the moment, I have a big 65-inch TV as my second monitor, so I'm hoping if I get the Quest glasses, I can have that huge screen, but just wherever I am. So if I'm traveling, I can just bring it with me and then have the whole big screen wherever I am.
All right. I would rather choose Apple Vision Pro though. Apple or Android?
Apple.
Apple. If you were in tech, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't in tech, I don't know. I cars, maybe I'd be a mechanic. Although I do math a lot. When I started college, I was thinking about going into actuarial science. Yeah, maybe probably actuarial science or a mechanic.
Night owl or early bird coder?
Early bird.
Word. Describe your job in one word.
Um, ooh, let me think. Well, so I got the Air Force job. If I were to describe that in one word, I'd
Yeah.
say maybe slow. I guess the government kind of moves kind of slow and everything. But if I was talking about Genesis AI, I would say versatile because I do a wide range of tasks.
I have just two more questions for you. Which is your favorite web browser?
Google Chrome, I'd say that's pretty much the one I use 90% of the time.
Favorite company? One startup and one LLC.
I'd say Figure AI. I think I don't know if they're a startup, although the CEO Brett Adcock just started a new company called Cover. So
Mhm.
I'll go Cover for my startup, and then for my LLC, maybe I don't know. I mean, Apple's a good one. OpenAI, although I'm not sure how I feel about them anymore. I don't know. They kind of changed in my mind. I'll go Apple. I'll go Apple. Thank you very much for inviting me. I had a really good time. It was great talking with you both.
Yep, yep. Really appreciate you on the podcast and looking forward to doing a lot of good podcasts and we'll share a lot of events. I have seen that you are sharing a lot of events in your LinkedIn.
Oh
I
yeah.
guess that would help a lot of people in YouTube and all sorts of domain. So you're doing the good work. Keep the good work on.
Thank
It
you.
was really fun to have you.
All right. Well, have a good one.